Welcome back to Dom's Corner, everybody. I am your host, Dom Martino, and sitting over to my left is Mr. Jareth Love. Jareth, how you doing today?
Pretty good.
Good. And yeah, guys, so we're going to continue on with the DCEU reviews going into the theatrical cut of Justice League. Oh boy, should be an interesting topic to discuss. And yeah, so I mean, we've done Wonder Woman 84, Suicide Squad, what was the other one? Batman v Superman, Man of Steel. We've done all those, both cuts of Batman v Superman. Here we are, we're at the theatrical cut of Justice League, leading into the Snyder cut. So yeah, should be a lot of fun. This movie obviously it was a production nightmare behind the scenes, and we'll kind of talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, guys, before we get started, please hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, and share this with your friends, and hit that bell for notifications. I got you, Jareth. I got you. And yeah, so yeah, so we are going to talk about Justice League, the theatrical cut. So I'll give some pretext to this. For those people that don't know, I'm pretty sure that this is a widespread story at this point, but just in case you've been living under a rock, gotta talk about this director situation. Zack Snyder, obviously, daughter commits suicide, very sadly, has to leave the project. Joss Whedon, they basically don't even offer to wait for him to come back or anything like that. They just let Joss Whedon take the reins and direct the rest of the movie. Not only direct the rest of the movie, but retool it, recut it, do all sorts of shit with it. And now Joss Whedon, in my opinion, directed probably what's my second favorite Marvel movie out there. Like, to be real with you, like the first Avengers movie, great flick. Yeah. Age of Ultron, I've looked back now and I'm like, it's better now, I think, after WandaVision, but, still wasn't a great product at the time, in my opinion. But, he's done so much for TV. I mean, but here we are. He has directed, I think, 85% of this movie. And I always remember one of my earliest memories was Warner Brothers trying to flip the story. It's like, yeah, the Marvel guy's coming to help out the DC guy when he's in a time of need. And it's like, that's not really how it went down. You just kind of brought him in to, do damage control, essentially, because you thought that this thing would fail. Had it been Snyder's original vision, which we'll find out, yet to be seen. But yeah, this movie, I rewatched it today. It's a mess. It's not good. Again, Jareth and I were kind of having a conversation about this off air. Maybe slightly better than Suicide Squad, but that's only because within its mess, it's more entertaining, in my opinion. Like, it's more entertaining than Suicide Squad. It keeps my interest more. And I remember walking out of this and being like, I don't know. It was fun, I guess. That was kind of my reaction to it when I walked out of the theater, seeing it for the first time. I'm not really sure how to feel about it. Definitely didn't feel like a Zack Snyder film, even though he is still the credited director. It didn't feel like a Snyder movie by any means. You could see almost like it's very noticeable, like what Snyder did, what he didn't do, what where Joss Whedon's influence came in on the whole thing. And it's very sad that they even credited Snyder as a director, but on the same hand, I mean, whatever. I don't think he wants any attachment to this at all, but there, his name's there, so what choice does he have? Yeah, Jareth, your overall thoughts. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
It's what we got. That's they were gonna release a Justice League movie, and that's what we got in theaters. It did not meet Avengers expectations whatsoever. Because they didn't have like a build-up of, here's this character, here's this character, but then everyone's going to be like, well, then you're following the Marvel formula. Like, I don't know. I mean, even the Justice League cartoon is better. Yeah. And but the problem, like, if they even just started, like, forming this team, if the Justice League was the first movie in the DCEU.
Yeah.
I think that would have, like, people were like, oh, that's pretty bold, because then we have to, then we're more intrigued by these characters' backstories.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that was the route to go. I don't know if they should have just copied the Marvel formula by building them up, you know, in each individual film. Whatever it may have been. I mean, again, Snyder's cut, you know, pending here. But, I mean,
Right.
whatever the formula they went with was, it didn't work. It didn't pay off in what they thought was going to be their version of Avengers, essentially. You know, the team-up movie that's going to end this, I guess, apocalypse saga in the DCEU, I guess, to a degree. Didn't really work out too well for them. Clearly, it shows that, you know, they, I mean, a lot of people harp on the Star Wars movies for not having a plan. I mean, good Lord, I think that this was a lot worse. I mean, at least, like, there was some shred of each film in each film, you know what I mean? With the Star Wars movies, like this, complete mess, like complete nightmare. I mean, the only thing that I would say was like somewhat cohesive is they do kind of carry over, you know, but barely. the kind of Bruce Wayne dream sequence to a degree, like they carry the idea through, but it's like it's not like there's no pretext to build into. It's just like it's happening, folks. Here we go. We're gonna throw you in it. Here's the apocalypse. The end of the world is coming.
It was slated for 2 movies,
right?
Which okay, then Steppenwolf dies, and here comes Darkseid, the bigger baddie.
Right. Like, yeah.
That would have made more sense.
Exactly.
I'm like, well, just like, I'm like, it probably was in it, but I've gotten used to it now, is the Justice League needing Superman to defeat like a C-list bad guy.
Yeah. And that's exactly what he is.
yeah. I mean, like, okay, if you of course you need him to defeat Darkseid, the coming, like, guy that's going to destroy Earth.
Yeah.
But do you really need to bring back Superman to defeat this guy that hardly no one knows his name? Even people inside comic books hardly know this guy's name.
Right.
And it's like,
yeah. How did they come to that decision to make him the main villain in this cut of the movie? It makes no sense.
I don't know. I barely read DC Comics, and I've watched the Justice League cartoon multiple times.
Yeah.
Hardly a mention of Steppenwolf. So it's like, I don't really see him that. I don't know. I can't get attached to him. I don't.
Yeah.
Like, are these his parademons, or I feel like there's a missing. I mean,
right.
We know his motivation is destruction of the Earth.
Right. But
why?
Yeah. Exactly. No, I feel the same way, and you know, I mean, it's like, I don't want to play the blame game, but I feel like this was a brilliant Chris Terrio idea, since he is, you know, credited as a co-writer on this script. I also feel like he's the reason Palpatine came back, but that's a different story. But yeah, I mean, he is. Steppenwolf is just not working in this movie at all, if you ask me. I mean, like, first of all, he's completely CGI'd. They didn't, like, go the Brolin route with Thanos, you know, where they were like, we're gonna at least use his likeness and you know, use some prosthetic in the middle there, you know, but they just blew it up and was like, no, he's got to be big, you know, he's got to be huge, and he's got to look scary, although he doesn't look scary at all. He just looks like a cartoon. That said, the cartoon aspect of him really fits well with the tone of this movie, which to me is a cartoon. It's that of a cartoon movie. So I'm like, okay, I guess it works, but it is even, but like it's so funny because even the actual cartoons in DC can come up with better villains and more compelling stories
much
like
better,
this, which is really sad when you look at it and ironic that their live action thing that was toned like a cartoon felt more like a cartoon than their actual cartoons. I don't know. That's where my mind goes when I watch this movie. I was really funny too. I was watching some of the early reactions. I like went back on YouTube just to see people's early reactions to this movie coming out of it back when it was first, coming out. Like, I mean, these are the ones that were like people were coming out of just press screenings. Like the movie hadn't even been released. So I was kind of looking at those, and people really dug this movie back then. I don't know what happened since, but they really dug it back then. It seemed like they were like, yeah, it has problems, but I really dig it. Like, I was never on that boat with this one at all. Yeah. Like, I was always like, I guess it was fun, but I don't know. I mean, there is fun to be had in it. I'm not going to deny that. There is some fun action in here. And, like, from like the visual standpoint, there are some really great scenes, and there are also some really poor attempts at fixing things with CGI as well from the visual standpoint. And then he also got Danny Elfman's doing the score. I love Danny Elfman. He does not belong in doing the score in this world. It's not that the score itself is bad, it just doesn't belong in this world that they're trying to build here. But I guess it does come closer to this cartoony type feel that they kind of have going on at the same time. So
yeah, Danny Elfman, I think Simpsons, Beetlejuice, whatever, like that kind of stuff.
I don't think, and again, I know it's not exactly his, but I don't think Zack Snyder movies when I think Danny Elfman. You know what I mean? I know it's not exactly Zack Snyder's, but it was, they wanted us to believe that it was. So, I would have at least brought in Hans Zimmer or Junkie XL to, come in and do it, but, whatever.
Did you notice the nod to Batman Returns when Alfred said, something about missing the days of exploding wind-up penguins?
Oh yeah, I did. That was a good one. And so I'm glad you brought that up too, because Jeremy Irons is one of the best parts of this movie. Yeah, he's great in the film. He is like, every time he's on screen, I want more of him, because I'm just like, he's really making the movie work. Like, he is Alfred. Ben Affleck is like, it's not that Ben Affleck's bad in this movie, but he's like not playing that character that was in Batman v Superman anymore. Like,
right. Yeah. It's not the same Batman.
Right.
Like, this Batman's making jokes, but that Batman wasn't.
Yeah. He's really, it's really odd. And I mean, even when you look at the last Batman was, scruffy old Bruce, and this guy's all cleaned up and stuff, and I'm like, what
he did
happened?
Shave. He did shave.
I'm glad they put that in there at least, but like, why? Like, I mean, it was just like cooler, and like I would have bought into it more. I was happy they at least showed him shave, that they put that in there for it to make a little more sense, but it still was like, but when did he have this like enlightenment to where he was going to become this different version of that? It's like we are clearly missing a whole thing in the beginning. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's so clear because he's just shaving. He's becoming cleaned up. He's looking more fresh, which might be fine, assuming they keep that aspect in the Snyder Cut as well. But like, we just need the pretext to it. Like, when did he transition to something like that? To not being scruffy old Bruce anymore. If anything, I would think at this point he'd be more depressed. I mean, he kind of failed his mission last time. He knows the apocalypse is coming. It doesn't really make sense for him to be like, I'm gonna clean it up and I'm gonna look like the rich guy. I'm happy again. Like, does not make sense for his character at all.
No, it's so inconsistent. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know why. But I guess it makes sense if he's trying to form the team immediately, that he'll just be like, "Hey, I'm Bruce Wayne. I'm Batman. Hey, I'm Bruce Wayne. I'm Batman." When he's trying to recruit everyone, how does he not know that these people are gonna like out him? Yeah. But then he could out them, I guess.
Oh my gosh. And then you got Wonder Woman. This is something else I noticed. I mean, this is, Gal Gadot, by the way, is great in the movie, and feels like Wonder Woman. So it's like one of the things that feels very consistent with it. But then like there's just these really ridiculous moments. Her mission in the beginning, like I get that she's out there fighting crime, but like why is she here? What led her to this place? Like we need to get a little bit more of that. And not to mention the freaking obvious close-up butt shots on Gal Gadot. I think Gal Gadot's gorgeous, so I don't mind. I'm just saying, when you make them that obvious, it's like, this is like such Joss Whedon, TV bullcrap. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the kind of stuff you get in this kind of like washed up commercial crap that's like, it's...
At least it's not Michael Bay.
But that's the kind of thing that he would do. That's my point. Yes. It's just like, it's that kind of stuff that like, it bothers me so much. And like, it's, man. And then you got the, but other than that, like, I think she's great in the movie, I guess is my point. But like, I think that she actually is one of the stronger pieces that holds it together.
I think she's the strongest actor in the, right. And any of it.
Well, her character too is doing the most interesting things. She's questioning morals. She's, her story I think that they were like, well, it's being released after Wonder Woman, so let's make sure we get that right. And so they were just like, we're going to make sure we carry that story forward, and at least it'll feel somewhat cohesive. But no, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. And then you got like Aquaman, who's actually like, by the way, I liked Jason Momoa when I first saw him in this movie, and I still like him as Aquaman till this day. I think he plays his role really well. He's playing Momoa, but that works for this style of Aquaman. Yeah. Kind of like we were saying with Will Smith. He plays Will Smith. That really works for Deadshot, though. And he still works here, but you get these really stupid-ass convoluted things that luckily followed up on really well in the Aquaman movie. But it's just, it's like they're showing his world, but we don't get like any expansion on it.
We don't. We're unfamiliar with it, so it's like, okay, he's from Atlantis. Are we supposed to know that he's half Atlantean? Like the general public doesn't know his backstory and is giving no dialogue explanation, really. What?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how I feel. It's all just thrown in and trying to make us care, and we don't. Again, it's all about the pretext. It doesn't give us enough. And then like when we're looking at the when we look at like the Flash, by the way, I really like Ezra Miller's Flash. I think that he does fine. I think some of the problems with the Flash is the writing, again, and I would kind of feel that way about all these characters now that I'm saying it out loud. Is like, I actually like all the casting choices. It's the writing, I feel like, that weakens it. I mean, Ray Fisher's Cyborg is definitely the weakest part of the movie, and I'm not trying to give the guy any more shit because it sounds like he's having a really hard life. So you keep doing what you do, Ray Fisher, but like, in all honesty, like, he is the weakest part of this cut of the film. That could change upon the Snyder cut, but it's like, for me, they clearly did undermine him, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to play the race card, but it does seem like that's it comes across that way.
He's okay. First of all, he's not even that big of a character in the comics or even in mainstream media.
Yeah. So
why would they focus on an unknown character, unless they want to like because it was slated to give him a movie and then it was canceled, and well, that was kind of their own fault for not putting him in the spotlight more.
Right. And the thing is like, it's hard for me to judge his performance. It's the same thing as Jared Leto when we don't get a lot of them. You know what I mean? And I understand what you're saying, that he's not a big character in the comic books anyway, but if you're going to use him at all, at least like make us care about him in a movie, because it's like, if you have him at all, give me some more, I mean, you're getting shreds of his backstory, but you're getting like the aftermath of it. It feels like from the get-go, you're getting the aftermath of his backstory that we never got to see, and that's a problem. It's a huge problem, and I don't know like how the strategy over at DC became we got to make Justice League right away. It wasn't like, I mean, obviously it came down to money for them because it was they think like because it's a team up movie, it's going to make money. And that's just obvious. That's not how it works. You know, you can't rush these things. Your characters need to feel fleshed out. Your universe needs to feel lived in, and it needs to feel like we've been here for a long time. And another thing, speaking of universes and environments, I think we might have mentioned this prior in the Wonder Woman review, but the mascara, I mean, it feels so small and downscaled from the one we saw in Wonder Woman. Like it feels like there's nothing here.
Well, I think it's because they had a lot of above shots too.
True.
But they could have made it bigger with CGI.
Yeah, they could have done something. Add detail. Yeah. It feels so bland when we're in it. Like, I enjoy the action scenes that take place in it, but like it just feels so stale and bland, like the world. And it's like, yeah, you can tell there's something clearly wrong. You know, it's obvious that something's wrong behind the scenes here, and that they rushed this thing, and it just becomes evident.
Yeah. It's I mean, that was my favorite part. I probably for one that at least for the mother boxes.
Yeah. Cool concept, but they didn't dive into that nearly enough either.
No, I'm like, why does it keep saying mother? Right. What? Why?
Right.
They I think it was Cyborg that said they were mother boxes.
Exactly.
And okay, cool. Then give us more info about Cyborg.
Yeah.
Like his technology came from the mother boxes. Oh my, okay.
We
know more about them.
We just go into it so quickly too. It just feels like we're there. You know, it's like that's how this movie feels. Everything's just like, okay, we're here, we're doing it, and there's no like concept. Like the one thing that it doesn't really work. In theory, but as far as like when you're comparing it to the rest of the movie, it was like at least they had a plan for it. The one thing when they bring Superman back, at least it feels like, okay, they're teaming up, they're coming up with a plan. It's weird, it's a weird ass plan, don't get me wrong, and it doesn't really work in theory, but at least like in comparison to everything else that came before, it feels like at least they're coming up with something, and it feels like that's a fleshed out idea when you compare it to everything.
Yeah.
Again, it sucks, but it feels more fleshed out in comparison. Like it
made his death almost worthless because, we killed him. Because in the continuity wise, and like, throughout the movie, like because we had Wonder Woman, but that was the past. Like we didn't know, like we didn't get any context of like. We knew people were mourning Superman's death.
Yeah.
But us as the audience, we didn't really care that much, I think. And I think we would have cared more if we saw the heroes struggling, or maybe one of them dies because Superman wasn't there because they tried to save Earth. And I'm surprised Joss Whedon didn't do that because he was known for that.
Right. True. It's a good point. I agree with you. The other thing is you just feel so let down, and not that I'm an expert on them or anything, but there's a whole bevy of comic books out there that you could cherry pick ideas from to figure out a cooler way to bring him back. You know what I mean? It's like there are so many other ways that you probably could have done it. You know what I mean? Like with all the lore and everything that's built in the comic books, you couldn't like.
Can I? I'm gonna interject and just tell you what happened in the 90s when they brought him back.
Yeah, please.
It was actually kind of cool. There were like all these Superman imposters coming through the woodwork, and like that could have been like a Man of Steel 2. Like you've got all these like you've got Superboy, which is half Lex Luthor, half Superman. You've got Cyborg Superman, which is a mad scientist that put his brain. He has some of Superman's DNA on top of his skin.
Right.
Like it's all this.
Do that.
All these Superman imposters coming through the woodwork.
Yeah.
Like Man of Steel 2 right there. Like,
yeah. Exactly. I agree with you 100%. That's my point. Like how did they come to this? We're going to go dig them up. Like it's just what movie is this, you know? And then, sure, you get some like nice moments like between, you know, Flash and Aquaman and Cyborg, and it's like they're okay, but like through the process of it, but like, wouldn't it have felt more like a team up movie if they actually teamed up to do something massive to get him back? Like it just isn't that the idea behind a team up movie?
Like taking him out to in space, to the sun.
Right. They could have used the sun. They actually could have used the sun. That makes more sense than we're going to dig him up and they're going to use some energy and just, he's alive.
Like, the Mother Box doesn't make any sense
to
the regular movie fan. It doesn't.
No.
But if you use the sun, because everyone knows that's where he gets his powers, that makes more sense.
Yeah, there's probably about 100 other things that you could have done. I mean, in all honesty, and they went with like, okay, like clearly Chris Terrio again and Joss Whedon, they don't understand DC at all. Like they clearly, they don't feel like guys.
Joss Whedon's much more of a Marvel fan.
Exactly, they don't. It shows because when he watches Avengers movie, you could feel the fan, the
cringe.
What?
The cringe. You could feel the cringe.
In Avengers?
No, and Justice League.
Oh, yeah, you can feel the cringe in Justice League, but you feel like that fandom just radiating off him in Avengers.
Oh, yeah,
so, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can tell where his loyalties lie.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever picked up a DC comic in his life. Why are we having him direct this movie? It's just because he made ability. He understands the other thing. He doesn't understand how to do this. Not blaming him for saying yes to a job. I'm just saying that, like, it's like, but on the same hand, I kind of am, because if you don't understand it, then it's like, maybe it's not for you.
Okay, the Mother Box can bring back the dead. Well, I mean, the energy can. All right. It's perpetual energy, but it also, if you combine all three of them, it destroys the world.
Yeah.
Why? We don't know.
These plot points are it's Marvel bullshit, and like I love Marvel, but like when you put it in DC, it's bullshit. That's what it is. You're pulling stuff from Marvel that actually makes sense within Marvel, and you're putting it in DC.
But
and
we had build-up. We had
right.
all those end credit scenes. Yes. It was wanting us. We were craving for more.
Well, we had them here too, but it didn't really like get us excited.
Oh, okay.
They didn't get us excited.
I didn't like. I didn't even. I forgot about the. To be honest, I forgot about the end credit scene here. The potential Legion of Doom, Lex and Slade.
Which could have been a cool movie if they ever went through with it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Lex Luthor hires Slade Wilson to break him out of prison.
Right.
Put that in like, I don't know, at the end of the movie, instead of the speedboat crap.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Okay. I need to mention I didn't understand why the Flash was tripping so much. If he was used to like running so much, why is he tripping so much? And then yet he built this this suit, and he was like, "Oh, I'm this fast." Like he's faster than Superman. Like he is, because he can travel through time. Like
I'll tell you why, because he's a cartoon character, and if he trips, the more he trips, the more the kids are gonna laugh, the more toys they'll sell. It's how the system works, and
but it didn't sell toys.
No, it didn't, because even the kids fell asleep in this one. They were. There's no way that this movie was ever gonna work with the way that they wanted to do it. It never was gonna work with their formula, so to speak, because or their strategy, even, because when you look at, like, I mean, again, it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to explain this. I'm trying to be careful because again, like I understand why Joss Whedon would take a job. I understand why Chris Terrio would take a job, but like on the same hand, I don't understand why the other side of it, which is Warner Brothers and DC, would hire two people that don't understand this world whatsoever. Say what you will about Snyder, he got the world. He understood DC.
Yeah.
He knew it at least to a degree. He might have done something different with it, but he at least understood like the surrounding pieces and how he can twist those around to make his own vision. So that's my point. It's like I'm trying to be careful because I know people are strongly going to disagree with me on that Snyder didn't know the world, but compare it to this, like seriously, and tell me that he didn't know what he was talking about at least a little bit. You know what I mean? Because when you really do a comparison test here, this movie doesn't feel like a DC movie. It feels like a Marvel movie with no setup, to it. That's exactly what we got. Imagine imagine we got Avengers, but we had no prior setup. Actually, still probably would have been a better movie than this. But like now that I'm saying that out loud and thinking about it, but still, it's like that times 10. You know what I mean? It's bad.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
It's just like I don't know. Like, I mean, they've got these, like I keep mentioning it. They've got these other future movies planned out.
Yeah,
I hope they don't turn out like this.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
But it seems like this was the foreshadowing of them going towards that cartoonish route with Aquaman and Shazam.
Yeah.
But Aquaman was still Aquaman and Aquaman. Like that's this character.
Yeah.
He wasn't acting outside of his character. Shazam was Shazam. That was the first, but yeah, Batman wasn't acting like I said. He wasn't acting like Batman from BVS, and like you said, what made him so much happier? Like, it was hinted at that he had a hit thing for Wonder Woman. Was there like a secret relationship going on there?
Yeah, that was a weird, odd thing. It bounced off your point too. I want to talk about that real quick, the Gal Gadot Ben Affleck thing, but I want to go back to your original point, which was, the Aquaman and Shazam thing. The difference there is like those stories don't rely on setup that we never got, and also they're made by filmmakers. I'm sorry, Joss Whedon, that seem far more competent than you. You know what I mean? Because it's like they really do. Like, and they feel like they have everything feels cohesive with those two movies.
Yeah.
And I'll give this movie that point though, like you were saying, I'll give this movie the credit to where it probably made their transition into that style a little less jarring to have this in between. Sure, I'll give it that, but again, doesn't make the movie good. But to go into the Ben Affleck Gal Gadot, relationship, I like it when she's like questioning his morals. Like I enjoy that, but yes, I did feel like they were kind of hitting on the nose with like, we're gonna try to set up a relationship between these two. And honestly, I wouldn't have minded that if
make it happen
if it worked. Like,
but it didn't even happen.
Yeah, he just met this girl like 2 weeks ago, it seems like, and he's just like, yeah,
he's known her for years.
Yeah, I get it. Like, she's incredibly gorgeous. He's incredibly rich. I get that. And probably good looking in her eyes as well. I don't know. But, like, I'm just saying that, like, I get that. But you got to do more than that. And it's like, it makes for, like, one of the worst, like, romances in any movie ever. It's just like, well, these two are good looking and powerful, so obviously we need to pair them together. And like, they didn't do it, but then they were like hinting at it, and it didn't work at all. Like, I need to know, like, how did they get to this point where she is questioning his morals, where he's reciprocating, like, how did they get to that point? Because you don't explain that either. Like, it's just they're there because they experienced doomsday together. Come on, like, come on. What is that? No, you need more than that. She came in and helped. By the way, Batman, well, he knew who she was, but like, it was just, I don't know. you know, they played that joke. That's what I was thinking of. Is she with you? Oh no, I thought she was with you. So she really comes in with that split second in the end of Batman v Superman, and all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that they're like incredibly close with no build up. It's just like, what the hell, you know? I don't understand it at all.
Yeah, and she walked into the Batcave without him knowing at all. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Exactly. Right. It's so on the nose. It's hysterical. And again, I even feel like the bad things about this movie make it entertaining at the very least. You know
They do.
I mean? It's
they
true.
do.
It's an entertaining movie. It's not like Suicide Squad. I literally get bored during Suicide Squad. This, I have fun when I watch it, but it doesn't make it a good movie. Like, you can clearly see all the flaws with it. You question just about every plot point every time one pops up, but you almost are entertained just trying to figure it all out. Like,
Another thing. Okay, we got the Green Lantern from the flashback.
right.
Why didn't we get a Green Lantern here?
Yeah, exactly. My guess is they planned on it, but like,
well, I mean, like they plan on having a Green Lantern Corps movie,
right.
like but we still need like a main character, and I don't know. Are they still like upset about Ryan Reynolds' character? Movie sucking?
No, I bet you we see him in the Snyder Cut, and I bet you that wasn't because of a reshoot. I bet you he was already in it. I just feel like they cut it. Like, honestly, I'd give you that same explanation of why we didn't get anything else, because they cut it. I bet you. We'll see. You know, I mean, I might be wrong about
4
that.
4 hours long, yeah.
All right, they probably cut it. This movie's what, an hour 55 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
We're getting a lot more time with this 2-hour cut. It's like
Oh wait, no. I thought the
4-hour cut. 4-hour cut.
4 hours.
I misspoke. But yeah, no, they we're getting so much more with this 4-hour cut. Like, they clearly cut a lot of shit, and then we didn't get to see it, and that's like your explanation for why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Because they cut it, and then they reshot it, and then they made it not make sense. It's like, I get if you don't like something, but to like reshoot a movie and make it make less sense than what your original cut probably did, again, we'll see, but I'm just saying, you know, like it's like I just can't imagine Zack Snyder even on his worst day making something this, you know, this messy, this inconsistent.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, Sucker Punch is not a good movie, and that's like his worst day so far to me. But like, I can't see it. It's still not this bad. You know what I mean? No,
I did like this. I did like the intro to the soundtracks better than Suicide Squad, of course, in this one. That was a big plus. Like when Aquaman was like drinking the I don't know, the heart was vodka or something. And he just threw it in the sea because he didn't give a shit because the sea was already being polluted, and he wasn't king of Atlantis yet.
Yeah.
And so that fit his character. And was it the Rockin' Tours, the White Stripes song?
I think it was White Stripes. Pretty sure.
Yeah, that fit so well. But yeah, some of the other songs were pretty good, but that's something that Marvel was kind of lacking in their movies. I'll be honest, that they don't have like a soundtrack to, or hardly any songs in their movies besides Guardians of the Galaxy, but that was designed to be in there.
Yeah. Speaking of which, glad you brought up a positive, because it was something that works in this movie to me is Superman's mom and Lois Lane. I think that this is like, it's one of the aspects that really works in the movie. Anytime they're on screen, it makes sense why they're there. You know what I mean? They're not shoehorning them in. They actually feel like they're supposed to be there in their moments that they're there, and it, like, they actually serve the story. And the scene where, you know, Clark comes back, it's actually really compelling to watch. I just wish that they, again, would have had a better plot point as to bringing him back. But when he comes back and goes back to the house, that's actually really good stuff. That scene works really well, plays well, feels natural, you know, except for the face problem. But that's another thing. But
mustache.
It's like you had one and something had to ruin it. Yeah, that's something we didn't talk about at the very beginning of that video. It's like, you can tell. Like, I remember watching in the theater, like, what's wrong with his face? Something's going on there. Like, he's got, like, certain muscles that are moving in his face when he's talking, and other ones are just completely still, mainly around this region. But, like,
especially when they're, the little kids are asking him the questions.
That's what
I don't
I'm saying,
know when that was shot. Like, yeah, right in the beginning.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, it's actually worse than when he comes back to life, I think.
Yeah. He looks pixelated in some spots, and it's just like, what's going on with him? Yeah, it's bad. It's bad stuff. Yeah, his face, there's something. Yeah, that's bad. Obviously, again, I think I've mentioned this before, but clearly he was off doing a better movie. So that's, we forgive him.
Cyborg CG. I think Cyborg's over CGI'd.
Yeah, for sure, a little bit.
Yeah. I'm like, is this the Terminator or something?
A lot of what ruins it, and this is a Joss Whedon thing again, if Snyder was doing the movie, it wouldn't have looked as bad, because another thing that ruins a lot of the CGI is the lighting choices, I feel like, because the lighting choices are very off-putting. Like when you compare them to the last two films, like Zack Snyder's movies look dimmer and more, with more like contrast to it, you know what I mean? It's like, it feels like, like when you take like what Snyder had, the foundation he'd already kind of built with all this, and then you try to cut it into a Joss Whedon lit, very bright, kind of movie, it doesn't look as good as, it probably would have had we seen, Snyder's vision. I mean, there's been people, they did comparison videos on YouTube of even the lighting in the Snyder Cut trailer and just how much better that's made things look alone. Like, just the way that the Snyder Cut is lit and all that kind of stuff. Like,
the problem is, I don't think DC, I don't know, Entertainment, I think that's what they're called. I don't know what I
think it's the DC Entertainment Universe. I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for.
Or Extended Entertainment Universe. I don't know.
Expanded Universe. I don't know.
I don't know. But like, they need someone in charge. Well, it's supposedly Jeff Johns was the comic book writer, but it doesn't seem like he's in charge. They need someone like they need a Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
They needed Kevin Feige.
They needed a Kevin Feige, like somebody who's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now they've gotten, I mean, they have switched leadership since, obviously. And like, so now they're, I think that's why they've been working a lot better, lately. I mean, sure, they've had criticisms against their movies, but people are watching them again. They're, you know what I mean? Yeah. They're excited to watch them, at least. There's an intrigue again for the DC movies, so they're kind of, they're kind of switching back to what they should have been in the first place. But so that's a really good thing to see. But yeah, and it's just, it shows so much. Like, I mean, when we go back even to the Batman v Superman Ultimate Cut, it's like, why did you need to release the Ultimate Cut on Blu-ray? Like, why wasn't that the cut that was released for theaters? Like, why is there this stigma? Okay, now I'll be honest, like, Zack Snyder's 4-hour Snyder Cut, I won't lie, it's a little extensive. Luckily, we're getting that on streaming. I won't lie, the length is extensive, but again, it's a streaming movie. I think we'll all be okay, and if it's great, who cares? But I'm just saying, like, when we're talking about, like, there seems to be this stigma behind, like, people will not sit and watch a 3-hour movie. Bullshit. They will. I hate this. Like, every studio seems to, like, we gotta do 220 or people won't go see it. It's like, I disagree. Look at the freaking Lord of the Rings films, made loads of money. If they're good movies, people will go see them.
Yeah, but they were 2.5 hours long, right?
No.
I think they're quite...
Lord of the Rings?
They weren't?
No, we're looking at 3 hours.
No, I thought that was the extended cuts. The extended cuts were 3 hours
cuts
long.
are hitting 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some of them. I don't know. But like, okay, like the Hobbits, I think might have been like 2.5 maybe. But that's because the studios, for some reason, once the Rings movies were done, it's like, it seemed like they reverted to this thing where can't make 3-hour movies anymore. They all got to be right around 220 or something.
I mean, Batman, almost all the Dark Knight trilogy was like almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
It was like 2.5 hours or 2:45.
Yeah, 2:45 even. Like, dude, can we at least get that? Like, it makes me mad. I mean, Avengers Endgame was 3 hours, sure. Of course, I get it. Like, we've built into it, but like, say what you will, but like Kevin Feige, he took the swings to make those movies that long,
Oh, yeah.
and he's like, he believes in his product. Like, it just shows, like, I guess this is my point, from a business standpoint, it just shows a lack of faith in your product when you got to bog them down this much, and that's just bad business anyway. So you might as well release the original cuts of these things in the first place. And I hope, if the new leadership has learned any lesson, that's just do that in the first place. Don't, obviously every movie's going to get cut down to a degree, and I get that.
Yes.
That's normal. I understand that. But my point is like, when Zack Snyder was like because the theatrical Batman v Superman was what, 2:30? I think 2:35.
I think
like
around
that.
there, yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2:30, 2:35, somewhere in that range, right? And then he was talking on one of his more recent interviews, is like, when he was first doing this movie, they had told him, God cannot be any more than 2 hours. It's like, that was like right from the get-go, they had to cut it to that. And he's like, how does that even work, though? If this is the epic conclusion, typically your epic conclusions are longer and more expansive than the things that came prior, and that doesn't make sense. And that's my point. It's part of what pisses me off so much about watching this movie, is like, it's so clearly corporate, commercial fucking bullshit. And it's just...
And it seems like the DC television stuff, like on CW, is willing to take more chances than the movie department.
No kidding. I've been hearing great things about Superman and Lois lately.
Yeah, like it's even with Arrow and The Flash and Supergirl. Like, Supergirl got canceled, but they still made it a show. Black Lightning, no one knew who Black Lightning really was, right, but they still made it.
Yeah, just make it. Try it out. Exactly. No, that's my point. Exactly. Like, whether it works or not is one thing, but try it out. Give it a shot. Take the swings. It's like, if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out. But like, the corporations are so money hungry that they're just like, well, we got to cut them down. People won't go see it. They won't sit in the theater that long. It's like, who cares? Who cares? These movies, DC... Now they're making DC movies that are R-rated, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Yep. It's like, and they've made more money than your PG-13 corporate garbage bullshit. I'm just saying, DC deserves to be rated R. They deserve to be 3 hours long. You know what I mean? He had a Joker movie. Sure, it wasn't 3 hours, but it was R-rated, and it's their highest grossing movie to date. It was R-rated, a slow burn, an actual film, and it was their highest grossing movie to date. I'm not saying I expect like Zack Snyder to make anything on that level of, because that was just an anomaly coming from DC. But my point is like, I just expect he is a visionary. Let the visionary, do the thing. And I was listening to somebody today on a podcast talking about like why Kathleen Kennedy fucked up over at Lucas so bad, and it's the same thing. It's because she doesn't stay in her lane. If you are ahead of a studio, stay in your lane. Take care of the numbers crunching side. Unless you're Kevin Feige and you actually understand the property and the material, right? Stay in your lane and just let the creators do the creative. And that's what Kathleen Kennedy did, and it's worked out so well for her with Mandalorian. She's letting Jon Favreau, Filoni just take care of that, and she's staying over here. Stay in your lane.
Let the creators create.
Right. Stay in your lanes. I don't know. I had to go on a rant about that because it's been bugging me for like, I don't know. It's been bugging me since I rewatched this movie because I remembered everything that I had. All my problems came back to me. I was like, this is why I was so pissed off when I saw this, because it was like, yeah, sure, it was fun, but I was still mad because like I don't know, especially as a fan of those first two Zack Snyder films. It was just like, I know I'm like one of few, but still, like, I really dug those first two Zack Snyder films. I thought they were great, and at least I just wanted to see the complete vision. And when I rewatched this, it was like a whole can of worms just opened up again. So
bad memories.
Bad memories, man. I had a guy coughing up behind me in the theater too when I saw this, so that didn't help. He was hacking up a lung, luckily pre-pandemic and all, but it was still just it sucked. It was a bad theater experience. I
remember like the theaters being packed that night, and my friend said, "Oh, I don't want to go to a packed theater," and I'm like, "Fine." I'm like, "Well, I guess we missed our And then we watched it on DVD. I guess we saved our money.
Right. No, definitely. You saved her money, and, you know, she was able to pause it and go to the bathroom or go take a nap or whatever she wanted to do, you know? I really did want to take a nap midway through this one today. I'm not going to lie to you. I powered through, but I was getting to the point where I was like, I would like a nap. I would have been great. Yeah, go ahead.
If you get, like, again, I keep referring to the better versions of the comic book versions. Like, just watch Justice League War.
Mm-hmm.
That was okay. That's taken from the first New 52 comic book, and it still kind of has this feel.
Yeah,
like they're all meeting each other because Darkseid's invading.
Right.
Okay, and that's an hour and a half, but it's still better than this.
Right. That's what's so sad. Now, given you can get away with things in the actual animation that you couldn't in live action, but still, it's just sad. It's sad. It's like, you know, to talk about the third and final battle of this movie, I mean, it's so short and so rushed, and it feels like you are just so let down by the time it ends. It's like, that was the one thing I was kind of hoping for going through this. I remember the first time it was like, well, a lot of this might not be working, but at least we'll get this really amazing action-packed third act. I've seen what Joss Whedon can do. By the way. Oh, can you? How about now? Better?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, yeah, at least I've seen what Joss Whedon can do. At least we'll get this amazing third act, and then, nope. It was just like, all right, there went all my hopes for that. That was thrown out the window pretty quick.
Yeah, I like. Okay, first of all, why was it in Russia? We're missing that.
Right. No reason.
Why do I care about the family, the Russian family?
Right.
I don't know their names. I don't know who they are. I don't know they're not even related to any of the main characters. Yeah. If they were, like, I cared a little bit when Cyborg's dad was like, no, I'm not going to tell you about the mother box.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they come and rescue him. Like, okay, that made sense.
Yeah.
But who is this random family?
Yeah. It's, by the way, though, I will say this. Friggin' Superman carrying the house, that was a great gag. I got to give it to him.
Yeah.
That was a good gag. I really liked it. But my problem with Superman in this whole thing is he shows up and then you get Batman looking like a kid in Toys R Us. Like, this is so inconsistent with this character. He really just, like, I cringed in the theater. I remember cringing so hard when I saw him get all giddy for Superman showing up.
Well, he's like, oh, I did not knew you. Or something like that.
Something along those lines, yeah. Yikes.
It's not consistent. This is why people complained about it's not the acting, it's the writing.
It is.
It's the writing, and I feel sorry for the actors. I really do.
Me too, man. Why do you think they all quit? You got Gal Gadot, you know, she's still on board. Yeah, sure, Ezra Miller's on board, but he's choking out women. He's so upset. And then you got, I'm sorry, everybody, but you got Jason Momoa, who just, he's gonna go anywhere where there's beer. So those are your people that stayed on. And like, Gal Gadot gets to work with Patty Jenkins, who's a good filmmaker. That's like the only reason I feel like that was her incentive. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll make this first amazing movie if I have, you know, or I'll make this bad Justice League movie, I guess, you know, even if I have to, as long as I get to make that amazing one with Patty Jenkins. I feel like that was part of the deal.
Yeah, it's just and they've switched directors on the Flash movie so much now.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody even wants to work with Ezra Miller. Like, it's like, Jesus, because, and you know what? Honestly, if he's picky about who's directing his DC movies from now on, I don't blame him on that front. Because, like, I'm sure he saw this and was like, what a piece of shit. I don't blame him. Like, I don't agree with all of Ezra Miller's actions, but if he wants to get a little more picky about directors after making this thing, like, I don't blame him, you know, especially if he has that kind of control, which don't ask me why they're giving their actors that kind of control over there, but, you know.
Well, I heard that he was, like, helping write it, too.
Yeah, I don't know how he got that, but, you know, probably will turn out better than this, so.
And then, why can't I remember? Who plays Superman again?
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, what is he still on board?
Nobody knows. He's MIA, man. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Nobody really knows. Like, I wish he was. I hope he is, but like, nobody knows. He has said that he still plans to come back to this character. He said that in an interview in the past, but there's been no announcement, no news of him coming back. The one that J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates are doing, it's like they're probably gonna do Black Superman from what I hear. So I don't see how Henry Cavill even fits in anymore.
Well, it's like, okay. But here's the problem, though. They could just, like, release this and say and be like, fuck it. Yeah. Oh, look at this Joker movie. It made a lot of money, and it wasn't in the regular DCEU. Right. Let's try this and still make more money, but let's confuse our fans.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I'll tell you, if Cavill didn't quit, he was at least on a leave for a little while, because you saw in the end of Shazam, like, that whole thing that they did where he came to, it was like, yeah, they just cut it off as they were like, yeah, we couldn't get Cavill, folks, sorry. he saw Justice League and went on a leave. We don't know what happened.
He was busy getting coins being the Witcher.
Yes. That's the other thing. He's busy. I don't see him coming back, but, you know, I want him to. I want him to very badly. I just don't see it happening. And then
he's a good Superman. He's probably the best actor. Yeah. Well, him and Gal Gadot.
Yeah, and Affleck's coming back in The Flash, but I'm sure it's a quick cameo just so he can pass on the torch to whoever else is coming back.
What was it? Is it a rumor? Was it confirmed that Michael Keaton's going to be in the Flash movie?
Oh, he is apparently. That's confirmed. Apparently, he's okay.
So there, yeah.
So they're both going to make their quick cameos. Be like, "Yep, we were Batman for a minute, folks. We'll see you later. We don't want any part of this anymore."
I am getting a strong "we're copying Marvel" feeling with Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man.
Yeah, they got word of Marvel Spider-Man 3 movie. They're like, we need to do that with Flash because that makes sense. Well, he is the only one that can really travel the multiverse, so I guess it does.
Right.
But still,
what they did do it on, at least they did it on the TV show.
I heard it wasn't good either.
It was okay, but it still had that CW campiness to it. It was like, why is Black Lightning here? Why are you here? I don't know. It was still it was still a made for TV series, you could tell. And I don't know. But at least they had a crossover with Ezra Miller's Flash.
Yep. Just whacked myself. Yeah. No, for sure. Just wanted to point out the only Flash movie you ever need to watch, folks. The only Flash movie you ever need to see. Flashpoint Paradox. That's the only one you ever need to watch. And you'll be all right. I love the Flashpoint Paradox. They need to, take true inspiration from that story and, actually do it right and,
Well, I think that's the rumor that it's going to be a Flashpoint movie.
I don't think they have a choice anymore because they got to explain their cast away. That's I don't know how else they're going to do it. I don't think they have much of a choice.
Supergirl was what?
Huh? No, keep talking.
Oh, Supergirl was already casted. So is that an alternate reality Supergirl? Or is this or is this the DCEU Supergirl?
I don't know.
They haven't even named the Earth. This is Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3. We're gonna get dive into all these multiverse stuff. I bet you I know what's gonna happen because it happened at the end of the animated movie, but something similar. How I've heard that this Snyder Cut is going to be the official new canon.
Yeah.
And it's gonna have a post-apocalyptic like ending.
It's gonna have a cliffhanger of an ending, right? That's what he says.
Yeah, but
I don't know how it's
then
gonna work.
Barry's gonna time travel, and that's gonna. I hope that still.
Yeah.
That dream sequence, but well, okay, like that still doesn't make sense. The dream sequence. Why is he dreaming and not visiting him in reality? Like.
No, I assume most of the Flash movie isn't going to make a lot of sense when it comes out. That's, I just think that we're going to have to roll with it so they can fix everything. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't think a lot of it's going to make much sense. But then why have
Supergirl?
Because it's cool. Because that worked on CW, and we need to have her here because she's marketable, I guess? I don't know.
It didn't. They canceled the show. I mean, it did, but it didn't. They don't even have any, they don't have any products. Like they marketed. I remember when Man of Steel came out, DC they had a huge marketing campaign for Man of Steel. Then it went lower and lower and lower and lower, and then they got to Justice League and no action figures. No, there were just there was. I think there were some Justice League action figures, maybe, but it wasn't really there. It wasn't really advertised. It wasn't. You didn't see like Justice League notebooks or towels like you did Man of Steel.
Right. No, I don't know. I whatever the case. I hope it all gets fixed. I hope it all gets sorted. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm here for it. Then, the one bit that works, by the way, at the end of this movie, going back into it, like the one bit that works at the end of Justice League is, the I bought the bank joke was pretty good. I really like that. Yeah, that was good. That really does work. I mean, there's a couple jokes in there that sprinkle throughout that do work. It's just, again, as a whole, we've kind of stated the problems here. They're not that great. I mean, the movie's not that great. It's just. It's writing. It's what have you. I mean, it's all just it's a big pile of shit. It's a mess. I don't like it that much. Gotta be real.
A turd can be polished, but it's still a turd.
Yeah, polished turd, still a turd. Exactly. That's exactly how this feels, and it's like. It doesn't even feel like a turd. It feels like just nothing. It just feels like it's nothing. Nothing is there, but they're like, it's all just glazed over.
So it's a fart?
It's a glazed over fart, right? It's like a fart. It's like a fart in the wind. It kind of came and went. You know what I mean?
There's not even a smell.
No, there's not. No, I mean, it left a stink. That's for sure. We wouldn't be getting the Snyder cut if we didn't have a stink that was left over. But it did fade away, like real quick. Like people forgot about this. They were just like,
it's on TV. What else is on? Like that's how I feel.
That's exactly it. It's the perfect. What else is on? Now put it back on again. I haven't revisited this in years. You're asleep like 5 minutes later. You just it's background noise.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man 3.
I'll put on the shit movie while I'm writing my movie script. Just to have something in the background.
I can write better than this.
Yes. All right, they did that wrong, and they'll fix that. Yeah, studying, do everything the opposite of that movie, and you'll be golden. Oh, man. Oh, we have fun here talking about these shit movies. We need to talk about more bad movies. I'm telling you. You and I need to have, a show.
There's a slew of Marvel ones that...
Oh, the old ones, yes.
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 The old... Yes. We have yet to touch on the Hulk MCU. They had first, it was the return of the Incredible Hulk when Thor makes a guest appearance, and then the trial of the Incredible Hulk.
Right.
When Daredevil makes an appearance, I think as his lawyer too.
The original shared universe.
I think there's a ridiculous scene where Daredevil is flying a plane, and then And then there's the death of Incredible Hulk, and I already knew how this ended. He dies by jumping off a helicopter.
Jesus. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh man, yeah, we're gonna get into that at some point down the line, but yeah, guys. So this has been a lot of fun. That's Justice League for you. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, watch it to do your comparison test. With the Snyder Cut, but no other reason, just to see what he kept from it. It would be interesting.
The litmus test.
Yeah, exactly. No other reason other than that. That's for sure. But yeah, Jareth, before we get going here, where can the people find you?
Find me at Recovering Fanboy on Instagram, Goblin King 871 on Stereo, and Twitter, and Jareth Love on Facebook.
Right on. And a special thank you for being here, sir. Appreciate that. And you can find me on Twitter
Always.
at Dom_Martino_ and on Instagram, Dom_Martino_official. I know Adam would be laughing his ass off. He loves those underscores. He loves them. But yeah, and also on Stereo at Dom Martino. Follow us both on Stereo. Follow Sammy Ramirez as well, because I've been doing a lot of shows with her lately. So yeah, definitely check that out for some extra content. Should be a lot of fun if you come over there. We've been having a lot of fun interacting with you guys. That way, it's been a really great way to connect with you on a much better level, I guess, than what we'd be able to do here, which is really not at all. So definitely do that. And also, yeah, guys, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button below, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, and hit the bell for notifications. Much appreciated. Yeah, and let us know what you thought of let us know what you think of Justice League, the theatrical cut, and the Snyder cut will be next week, so we'll be excited to talk to you guys about that. And yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys joining with the DCEU reviews. Can't even say it. It's a stupid fucking name. But yeah, thank you guys for joining, and we'll leave it to it. Yep, thanks. See you next week. Yep, bye-bye.
Later.